Hello, I am Ned from Parables of the Film Industry, and I have been tagged in that Catholic Tag Challenge, and I was tagged by William Griffith from OK Catholic and Catholic Word of the Day. He's a really great guy. Love both of his channels. You guys should check it out. So basically, the Catholic Tag Challenge is basically you are given a list of questions about being a Catholic and like 2 random questions, and they're basically just a kind of get to know you kind of thing. And so, hey, you guys get to know me. The first question is, are you a cradle Catholic or did you convert? If you converted, why? I am not a cradle Catholic. I am actually a convert. I was originally Protestant. My family and I, although we used to attend plenty of church services, we never really found a place that we kind of really like to call like, hey, this is our church that we really like to go to and everything. There was one when we used to live down in Massachusetts that we always went to. It was called Mullen Hill. It was very close to Lakeville, Massachusetts. Then we moved to Maine, and we did try to find like some church to go to, but I don't know, we just never really fit in one, and we just didn't really agree with a lot of like the theology, I guess, with how like their church was operated or whatever. Eventually my step-grandparents moved in. They were Catholic, actually. During this period we were kind of having like home church services. Basically, we sang a hymn, read from the Bible. Once in a while we'd watch some Christian-based video about like the Christian faith and whatnot. Of course, you know, we had prayer time and all that as well. And then eventually my mother, who is basically a research nut, was looking heavily into the Catholic faith because of the fact that my step-grandparents moved in with us. She thought maybe it was about time that we started going back to church. So, because of all the research that she was doing, which was kind of like leading us closer to the Catholic Church, and the fact that my step-grandparents moved in, she thought it was about time that, you know, we started going back. And the first time I attended a Catholic Mass, it's very hard to explain, and I probably will never be able to explain it properly, but I basically felt like I was called home. Like, that was where I belonged in my faith, because as a teenager, well, not as a teenager, more or less like just kind of like a youth, although religion was very strong in my family, I myself, in some manner of speaking, I cared, but I just never really thought about it. It was when I finally entered, you know, the first ever Mass I went to, that's when I kind of had like the realization, like, you know, this is something that's very important and I should really start focusing on it. So I kind of had a conversion moment there, I suppose, and yeah, that's how I became Catholic. The second question is, what do you think is the biggest misconception non-Catholics have about the Catholic Church? That we hate everyone. Well, I hate everyone because I'm an introvert. I think this is something that really needs to be talked about, especially in today's society where everyone, especially a lot of secular society, really thinks that Catholics are very hateful towards people who get abortions, towards the LGBT community, towards basically anyone, including Protestants, which is not true at all. We're actually a very loving church. The problem is, we have a lot of people, and we're human. We're all human, and unfortunately, we have a lot of people in that no matter what church you go into, whether it's Protestant or Catholic, you will always come across people who are extremely hate-filled and think that their religion is the only freaking way. And the way that they bring that across, unfortunately, is very hate-filled instead of, oh, here's the reasons why our church is amazing, really good, and loving, and we are the way. Instead, it's, you better join us or you're going to hell! The third question is, what are your thoughts on dating or marrying someone who isn't Catholic? Just do it! as long as you remain Catholic and your spouse also agrees to raise your children Catholic. Seriously, there's nothing wrong with dating someone who isn't Catholic. This is also another misconception. There are a lot of Catholics who do believe that you should not date or marry anyone who is not a Catholic, when in reality, the Catholic Church does not teach that you should not marry anyone who is not a Catholic or date anyone who is not Catholic. It mainly teaches that, if you are to go ahead and date or marry someone, especially marry someone who is not Catholic, it basically just teaches you that, don't compromise your faith for the sake of your spouse, and still try to, lead your spouse to heaven and whatnot. And also that you also have to make sure that your spouse is also in agreement that you remain Catholic, that you remain practicing your Catholic faith, and that you raise your children as Catholic as well. And that's basically what the church teaches. The fourth question is, what is your favorite way to pray? I think my favorite ways to pray are through singing. I really love praying through singing. I was actually taught by a priest up in Maine. His name was Father Bob. I met him in the Catholic Youth Ministry. Amazing, beautiful, wonderful priest. He was a huge inspiration to me in so many ways. He actually taught me that the most powerful way of praying was singing, and I do sometimes really like to do that. The other way I like to pray is very quietly. I very much like quiet contemplative prayer, or what I also like to kind of call, one-on-one time with God. That's basically those are my favorite ways of prayer. But hey, I'm an introvert, so that's probably why. Question number 5 is, who is your favorite saint? Saint George. Because he slayed a freaking dragon! How more BA of a saint can you get than that? Now, there are plenty of other really amazing saints out there. A very close second would definitely be Saint Joseph, the husband of Mary and the foster father of Jesus. I really love Saint Joseph. I actually joined a household in college called the Apprentices of Saint Joseph, where we focused on trying to be more men like Saint Joseph who followed God. But yeah, no, St. George, he's freaking awesome. I mean, he slayed a dragon, he's a freaking knight, he's awesome. Go St. George. The 6th question is, were you ever an altar server? No, I was never an altar server, but I was a lector and a Eucharistic minister through most of high school. Actually, I think all of high school, and a little bit afterwards. The 7th question is, what is your confirmation name? George. Because he slayed a freaking dragon! Okay, but I'm actually gonna get a little bit serious of why I really like St. George. I really liked St. George simply because of the fact that he was very inspirational to me as a saint, because he was able to overcome, this amazing feat of being able to defeat a dragon. And also, kind of going back to a lot of the medieval lore that surrounds St. George, I always found it, him as a very manly and gentlemanly character, saving the damsel in distress kind of thing and all that. But he was he was a saint that I very much really admired and really liked. The 8th question is, what's your favorite Bible verse? My favorite Bible verse is John 18:38, and it's the verse where Pilate is basically finishing his conversation with God. Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" And when he said this, he went out again to the Jews and said to them, "I find no guilt in him." Now, I really love that Bible verse, and it honestly it's definitely my favorite Bible verse, and one that I kind of go to a lot when I'm sometimes struggling with my depression, and when I sometimes have moments of doubt or anything. Because, I mean, Jesus is the ultimate truth. And I actually wrote a song in very late high school. I was in rock band for a little while. It didn't really go anywhere, but I really loved songwriting, and I really loved lyric writing. I really loved writing lyrics. And eventually I kind of got into composing and whatnot, but I wrote this song and it was called Truth. And the whole song was actually from the point of view from Pilate, because I noticed that in a lot of art, whether it was Christian songs, movies, or any of that kind of stuff, Pilate was always viewed as the villain, which I'm just like, that's not actually true. The only other movie that has not really portrayed him as a villain per se was The Passion. It just showed him as a man who was actually legitimately confused, and he just simply did not know what to do about this man who came to him. And the whole song is actually about Pontius Pilate. I would basically be singing his thoughts, and the whole song is about his circumstances and his experience of meeting Jesus. It's definitely one of my favorite songs that I've ever written, and I hope one day to actually be able to record it and compose it. One day, I'm really hoping to get around to it. Unfortunately, I don't really have a lot of this stuff to be able to do that, but in order to make a good quality recording of it. But who knows? One day I'll certainly be able to. But yeah, that's my favorite Bible verse. What is truth? I'll give you a hint. It's Jesus. Question number 9 is, what is your favorite food? Chicken and dumplings, all the way, no contest. Next question. What's your favorite song right now? Now, you see, that's actually a really tough one. There are a lot of songs I really like. I'm actually listening to a lot of soundtracks right now because I really absolutely love soundtracks. Songs, yeah, it's a little bit difficult. Yeah, it's very hard for me to actually pick one song, so I actually have 3 favorite songs. Actually, 2 of them are by my favorite metal/rock band of all time, Disturbed. One is their cover of The Sound of Silence, which is absolutely freaking beautiful. It is ridiculous, and it's probably the only cover that I will say is 10 times better than the original. And the original is still pretty dang good, but Disturbed just blew it out of the water, in my opinion. And I don't say that very often about covers. And another song that I really love by them that's, you know, kind of like right now is a song called What Are You Waiting For? And it's once again a really amazing song. Another song that I'm really loving right now, it's kind of weird. There's this kind of like a screamo punk metal band that I really like. They're called Motionless in White. They are very gothic in a lot of like the lyrics and stuff that they write. They wrote a song called Eternally Yours, which is their version of a love song, and it's very interesting. It's actually a very unique love song. They actually don't normally at all write love songs, so the fact that they wrote that, it was actually very impressive for a love song, at least for, you know, what they write anyway. I mean, I'm sure you all have your different opinions anyway. So yeah, that's the Catholic Tag Challenge. I just want to go ahead and thank Billy from OK Catholic and Catholic Words for tagging me in this. I also would like to go ahead and send a few tags out myself, and that would definitely be to Renee from Reborn Pure, and also to Joe, the Catholic Apologist. And I hope that they do not take as long as I did in trying to make this video, because trust me, I've been tagged in this video for, or tagged to do this video for a very long time, and I did not get around to it. But hey, now you finally have it. So, I'll see you guys later. God bless. And stick around for some movie reviews, which will be coming around shortly.